Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back. Our guest today is my good friend Yvonne Blaszczyk, President and CEO of BMG Group. Welcome back, Yvonne.
Well, thank you very much. It is my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a huge pleasure having you come down to the community. I wanted to get you on to talk about, there's so much excitement happening right now in precious metals, geopolitically around the world. But first, let's start off with the precious metals. Uh, Gold. Where do you think it's going from now till the end of the year?
Gold is going to be $4,000 per ounce. This is what is happening, and everyone can see it. A lot of experts right now are amending their predictions. I always believed, as you know, I did predict $3,000 per ounce, and I was right about that.
Right.
Last few months I've been looking at the trends and what is happening geopolitically in financial systems, and I do believe that gold is going to reach $4,000 an ounce. Today the gold is $3,341 per ounce USD.
Wow.
So it is a the prediction should not be gold fluctuates, as you know, and many experts are afraid to commit themselves. So they say, oh, $200 this way, that way. I believe that, of course, it will fluctuate. It may go, up and down. But basically, I think over the next few months in 2025, we are going to be at $4,000 mark.
And what's concerning you right now, geopolitically, Yvonne? What are you seeing around the world that's concerning you?
Actually, it's very exciting.
Oh.
I'm not too sure it's a concern. I think there are several things that are happening. Everyone is absorbed and totally preoccupied with the tariff anxiety. That's what I call it. And it seems that a lot of the local North American local situation is preoccupying everyone. So no one is looking what is happening globally. But it is absolutely fascinating. So, but let's go back for a second to gold. As I always, I think, um, said to everyone, gold has been money for 5,000 years. Gold has been it has incredible store value. Though gold does not tarnish, it's stable, it's always there. The physicality of it is very important. But gold is also a very rare commodity, and that rareness of this metal, and its ability to be a safe haven in the situations of economic problems, diversity, in terms of a political fractions, divisive kind of a atmosphere. When people feel insecurity, they usually turn to gold. Also, something very important happened in the last while. The mainstream media has been a talking about gold.
Yeah. Well,
Also, the sentiment is changing about gold. Gold is suddenly being noticed as a very important component factor in the international and national financial systems.
what do
So
you
that
what do you think about the tariffs, Yvonne? A lot of people, like what you said, there's tariff anxiety, and there's so much talk about, is it good? Is it bad? How is it affecting precious metals, the global economy? What are your thoughts on the tariffs?
well, it all depends, on your perspective and what you're looking for. Uh, President Trump's tariffs, their goal is basically to support the American output and reduce the U.S. trade deficit.
Right.
However, it has a far-reaching implications. The anxiety tariffs always existed, and I don't think anyone even noticed. People don't understand that the tariffs always existed. And the tariffs among countries were used many times to protect their own domestic products. Uh, However, the world is, from the trade perspective, is shrinking. So one needs to open other markets. U.S., as you know, is a huge consumer of goods. Um, Many of the goods come from China. So the tariff is really, I think, a tariff war with China. But
Right.
it's not only a tariff war, it's a war in terms of financial systems, in terms of many other influence over the Asia Pacific. The BRICS countries are very huge. It is a huge problem or challenge for the Western world in terms of what that can how they can impact their own financial system, economic systems. So the tariffs have a multitude of levels and depends, what you're looking at. The anxiety is basically associated with a divisive political views.
Right.
The dichotomy, or rather not dichotomy. There are on the opposite spectrum. There is a political division, and that division also is aligned with the tariffs and against tariffs. So if you speak to people that they are really have a huge anxiety with tariffs, that's the ones that they are on the opposite side of the current U.S. government. Um, to some degree,
Right.
that's only a part of the picture. So the tariffs has been affecting markets. Markets react, the market retract, the market react again. It all depends what is happening. The tariffs are paused for 90 days. What will happen? How
Right.
will China react? And nobody's paying attention to what other things are happening. They're affecting everything.
Welcome to the Cayman Islands, a premier offshore jurisdiction where natural beauty meets financial stability. Here, your wealth is more than secure. It thrives in one of the most trusted and respected financial centers in the world. For over a decade, SWP has been the trusted choice for precious metal investors worldwide. Our purpose-built 6,000 square foot facility sets a new standard in precious metals storage. We are proud to be one of the only vault operators approved by the London Bullion Market Association. Beyond safeguarding your assets, we're committed to making a difference in our community by supporting local causes and events that reflect our values. As we continue to expand and innovate our services, we ensure that your wealth is safe and strategically positioned to shield you from the uncertainties that lie ahead. Strategic wealth preservation, trusted today and ready for tomorrow.
Right. Like what? What are the other things?
Well, the other thing is what's happening. China's influence over the Asia Pacific countries.
Right.
China's appetite for gold. China's appetite for a need for territory in the market. China's economy is struggling. They need North American market and European and other markets in order to almost survive. At the same time, a strong leadership cannot afford being defeated by U.S. tariffs. So you have
Right.
this political, ideological aspect of the tariffs. Now, it looks like many countries are going to negotiate some sort of a acceptable level of tariffs, except China. Maybe some other exception for political reasons, but not really economic reasons. So we don't know, but it is very interesting because I think that preoccupies almost every news media, and market is reacting to what is happening today. It's not like predicting, well, would the tariffs be good or bad?
Right.
I'm not too sure. Today I was listening to some interview with some farmers in US that they felt that they were not affected by tariffs, particularly in their part in their that was, I think, with eggs, something to do with that those kind of products,
Right.
because they feel that they can have a American market open to them if there is no competition from other countries.
Right.
Is it right or wrong? It is to be seen. But at the moment, there's again a almost ideological division on tariffs, and different countries are negotiating. They're coming with different things. But what's important, gold
Yeah.
is exempt from tariffs. So
Yeah.
this, the tariffs don't touch gold. So in my business, I look at tariffs as a very interesting influencer on the market outside the precious metals.
Right. And
Tariffs. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Yvonne, like as we were talking about tariffs in China, if China is so dependent on the West for their economy to survive, how will they, keep BRICS going? Or how will they, how will BRICS be effective if they rely so much on the West?
Well, they're not relying only on the West. They
Right,
are relying on all the markets. If they would lose West, they will open the market in the Middle East, in South America. They will open the market in Asia Pacific, huge
right,
market. So they are not dependent. They would like to have the market with the way China, when you think about it in terms of the resources and their population, they need outside markets in order to survive.
right,
Could they live without the American market? Possibly, possibly. And looking at their response to US on tariffs, I would say that they have a plan B. Also, as you know, the president of China went to visit Vietnam. President of China is already, I'm sure, made some, plan B with the BRICS countries. Uh,
right.
there is already alternatives in place. So I think at the end of the day, we are going to be looking at perhaps again divided system between East and West. Now, the interesting, um, I think, factor is where is Europe in this whole thing?
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking. Right.
This is very interesting. We spoke about it before. I do believe that it we are going to go into a gold-backed currency. Many of the BRICS countries, as you know, currently have a local currency backed by gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Europe is very well poised, at least some of the European countries, to actually back their currency with gold. So there is a huge question mark. Um, what will happen to reserve currency? I do believe that US will maintain its status as a reserve currency.
Right.
They may have to share the floor or stage with some other currency
Right.
uh, backed by gold or by some different one. But the question, what will happen to euro? Can euro disappear? And euro could potentially be replaced by various local currencies because of different economic and political factors.
Right.
Short term, I think there will be a negative reaction to an anxiety, which again push price of gold up. But in the long term, the global economy could benefit, I think, from post-Euro world and return to the continental Europe competitiveness and economic growth at the local level.
Yeah, because in the beginning they really didn't want the euro because a lot of countries were not agreeing with, the debt that Italy brung or whatever it is that will take down, their currency because it's so spread across the board. But if you're right, if it goes back to an independent currency level and it's some of these countries are backed by gold, then there could be more competitiveness, right?
When you think right now, Poland, Hungary, and some other countries, they have gold reserves. Poland is buying gold, and I think they are well positioned to protect their local currency or back it with gold.
Right.
Now, in terms of Germany, just requested the return of 1,200 tons of gold from US that is stored in Manhattan. Um, that's 30% of the total gold holdings of Germany.
Really? Wow, that's crazy.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So what will happen? I'm looking. You see, I think the opposition or that against euro was mainly based. Will there be a competitive or competing reserve currency?
Right.
What will happen to the markets? Will they? In Europe, there is a free trade between the countries. There is a lot of movement. But Europe does not have the same resources as other countries. Europe is extremely beautiful. I love Europe.
Yeah,
How
Europe is nice.
oh, it's beautiful. But in terms of a resources and dependence on other countries, it's very vulnerable. Also, I think there is a lot of anxiety among European countries, not only anxiety, but a dissatisfaction with the central government in Brussels,
Right.
mainly about the management of funds, transparency, additional expensive political layer that perhaps is not as sensitive to the local or the individual countries with their local ideology and culture and everything else.
Right.
So there is a lot of, but mainly is the cost. Also, the other thing that has been emerging more and more, there was a crisis of confidence because of some of the political decisions. Like, for example, using freezing assets or freezing the funding because of the political decisions.
Right. Yeah, that's a big issue.
It's huge. The funding freezing mechanism to enforce compliance with a European Union fundamental beliefs may not be well received by the individual countries. So we
Right.
have that kind of from within implosion. It's just a matter of time. And now you have the energy crisis. You have you have the social political crisis.
Right.
So there's a lot of things going in Europe that if I was, living in Europe, I would be, I would worry. And then I would worry what will happen to my money. So what I would do, I would buy gold. So,
It's always the best answer.
yes,
Head to
I
the
would
gold.
buy exactly. I would buy gold. And now, what is also happening? I think you remember from our previous discussions, the actually freezing of the Russian assets by European banks,
Right.
and potential seizing of their and never returning the interest has
Right.
a huge impact on a level of
Confidence.
confidence. And this is a fundamental, I think. As much as there is a benefit of having a central government and a kind of European Union, there has to be a confidence, and also the decisions cannot be kind of hardline political against some of the members that are doing slightly different things, or they
Right.
need to, or they want to, or because they are elected, but their local population that has perhaps different beliefs. So that's actually what could happen. I'm thinking that perhaps the European Union could be the thing of the past.
Yeah, and then the new independent currencies will be the future.
That would be a collapse of the central government. That would be another, and then those countries can have the individual uh, negotiations, let's say, on tariffs.
Right.
Some
Oh,
of
that
the
makes
countries,
sense.
some of those countries may very well like to have a not that protectionist policy and accept. For example, in Europe, it's almost impossible to buy American cars
Yeah,
without paying a
because of
fortune
the
because of
tariff.
tariffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the same time, you can buy a lot of Chinese products.
Because of there's no
So,
tariffs.
well, whatever tariffs they are, they are all over the place.
Right, right.
Um, mm, it is beneficial. I remember some countries like Venezuela years ago, they had incredible tariffs on shoes because everybody that was somebody wanted to have Italian shoes.
Right.
So that was competing with their own products. So they put some incredible tariffs on that. This is part of the politics on opening your own markets, on eliminating trade deficits, on protecting your own products.
Yeah, no, 100% Yvonne. And it's such a crazy time that we live in right now that the only way to protect yourself in a very strong way is to protect yourself through precious metals, gold, silver. But Yvonne, before you go, I really want everyone to connect with you. I'm going to put your guys' link in the description below for BMG. Where can people connect with you?
They can connect with me at bmggroup.com. I just wanted to mention something that we
Yes.
have two products. We have two lines. We have mutual funds that they're holding 100% gold, and each unit has a equivalent amount of gold stored in at the LBMA vaults. And we have another division that actually sells a physical gold, coins, bars, and so forth to various investors. But
Oh,
interesting,
nice.
we were just actually doing some of the analysis on some of our products. For example, if someone invested in 2020 $25 million with us in our gold mutual fund, they would have probably right now have over 50 million, over
Wow.
50%, you know,
Wow,
return.
that's a good return. I'll take it.
It's fantastic. But again, mutual funds, the regulated registered products are very different. There are securities, and they can be, people can buy them under their RSP, which is fantastic. In addition, I think everyone should have another line. They should have both. I have both. I would definitely look at what happens now. If you have a mutual funds, you have actually a solid, I think, safe um, um, investment that is grows with the price of gold going up.
Right,
Now, if you
absolutely.
have a physical gold, you can actually buy bread. If you have a
Right.
coin, you can actually, if there is a supply chain, if there are some issues, that you need a cash. During the snowstorm or the ice storm here, there was no power, there was no internet, gas stations didn't work.
Wow, that's
Nothing was
crazy.
working, so you couldn't buy with your debit card. You had to have cash,
Wow.
and you cannot withdraw the cash from the bank if there
If
is
there's
a
there's no power.
exactly. But something else I wanted to actually mention,
Sure.
that I think is very important. I think the geopolitical issues are going to escalate more and more. The interesting Iran has confirmed that, so they are going back to the Iran confirmed that the next round of nuclear talks with the US is going to take place in Rome next week.
Okay, so that'll be big news.
That'd be big news. That would impact the market. China's, of course, the response to President Trump is going to be very critical, not necessarily just in that narrow aspect of in terms of in the context of tariffs. I would look at the sort of a broader picture, and the kind of what kind of threat China presents to US and to the Western world.
Yeah.
And why would the relationship with Russia and US on a more friendly level would probably weaken China
Okay.
to some degree. It will not weaken the BRICS group, but I have to tell you that coalition is huge and very powerful, and they have a 50% of the marketplace. They have over 40% of the world's territory. Their
Yeah.
trading might is incredible. So we have to look outside what is happening, not just be a focus on the tariffs themselves. We have to look at other things that are occurring internationally. The financial system has been under a lot of pressure for quite some time.
Right. No, it's going to be a crazy 2025. Geopolitically, I can see so many issues coming aboard, and just everything that you've talked about today, Yvonne, has been so crucial. Everything from, the Iran deal, everything from the tariffs to the gold.
Tariffs, Israel, Gaza. You're looking in Sudan, some things are happening. There are flashpoints all over the place. But the main focus, I think, is US and China.
Yeah.
And not just because of tariffs, I would say because of the financial systems. I don't know if I mentioned that to you, but for example, if the international trades that take place on a SWIFT system take 3 to 5 days, on the new Chinese system, electronic is instant.
Wow, yeah, that's a big advantage.
That's a big advantage. So there is a lot of areas where one has to focus when you try to decipher what is happening. From the perspective, from our perspective, I think the safest place is, of course, with precious metals, with gold in particular. Silver is coming up. Platinum had some gains
Yeah.
because of the industrial use. Uh, but in terms of money, gold is money and gold shall remain money. And gold is rare and very valuable. And it's going to go beyond what we can right now imagine. But my right now, I would say, you can put down, $4,000 gold. I'm again predicting another thousand
Nice.
last year. So I'm and I think that's going to be very
Right.
evident to everyone very soon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Yvonne, thank you so much for coming down to the community. I am going to put your link in the description below. So everyone, I highly recommend please go follow BMG, check out their website, check out their products. And everyone watching, please hit the like and subscribe button. Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us. And as
Thank you.
always, I absolutely love to have you back on in the future.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.